Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Welcome back to the podcast, and we are so excited to have you. Thanks for joining us again today. We are here to help you build a fit life you love. We want you to be strong, vibrant, and unapologetically you. Today, we're diving into something that many of us feel but don't always talk about, and that is navigating the winter blues and avoiding that post-holiday crash. Have you girls felt that before?
Absolutely. I actually think I feel it every year. So I'm excited for this episode for me too.
Yeah, I used to in a really big way, for sure.
Yeah, this time of year can feel super heavy, less sunlight, colder days, busy schedules, and it's easy to let it affect our mood, our energy, even our focus. But what if I were told you there were simple science-backed ways to keep your spark alive this season? I think that would resonate with most of you. And I think even I need some of that right now. So I'm here with my besties, Mare and T, and together we're going to share practical tips to boost your mood, prioritize your health, and stay aligned with your goals. You ready, girls?
Let's do it.
So ready.
Sweet. All right, let's dive in. So the first thing we want to talk about is the science of seasonal depression and mood regulation. And really, this week was actually really interesting. Monday, January 20th, was Blue Monday, and this is a fake day that we've adopted, especially here in Canada, which is known as the most depressing day of the year. There's no real scientific basis for it, but the third Monday has just been deemed Blue Monday. It was a marketing gimmick at some point, and the reason why it's caught on is that it feels really true for so many people, right? Where you feel that depression, you feel really sad, the weather is super crappy, but there is a difference between having those low mood and someone who is struggling with seasonal affectiveness disorder. Seasonal affectiveness disorder happens every single year. It usually starts in the late fall and ends in early spring. And it is a time when you specifically have lower mood because you are in colder, darker months, and it is a seasonal effect on your body and your mood. So what happens is we have reduced sunlight, affects our serotonin, our melatonin levels, and it affects our circadian rhythms too. When we're exposed to less sunlight, our whole rhythm goes off about our wake and sleep cycles. So that is where we end up getting the biggest effects. And so I want to share with you 3 mood boosting strategies. And some of these, being somebody that is affected deeply by the season changes, I start these back in, the early fall. I find in late September, I start implementing my sad routines. And it really, really helps me. And so the first one is get more light. So we really want to do one of 2 things, either get a light therapy box. You can get them as cheap as $20 on Amazon these days, plug it in while you're working, and you will get some of that light that you really need. And or get outside for a few minutes. You just need skin to sun or sky, even if it's cloudy, but 10, 20 minutes a day will do wonders. The second one is daily movement. We know physical activity releases endorphins. It reduces cortisol. It also helps us with all of the other goals that we have. And so really it is about getting that movement in. Do your workout, go for that brisk walk, get your heart rate up. It's going to help you feel better, and it's going to help you work on your goals as well. And the third one is fuel your brain. We talk a lot about nutrition and why your diet matters, but specifically for your mood, you want to be leaning into foods with more omega-3s, magnesium, and vitamin D. So things that you can add to your diet or switch things up right now are like salmon, walnuts, or different nuts, spinach, and adding that stuff to your meals. And the last piece is adding potentially a vitamin D supplement. So check with your doctor on that one, but it is also very helpful this time of year. How about you girls? Do you do some of these for mood or mostly just for the health side?
Absolutely. And you know what? I actually love that you brought up that don't just start this in January, because starting early actually makes it part of your routine. So I thought that was like a really, really, really important thing to say. Make this like your toolkit that you use year round, because all of these things are applicable outside of January as well. Get More Light was actually one that was fairly new-ish to me. Like, again, in theory, yeah, get more light. But it was actually my therapist who said that. She was like, you need to get out. She said, even if it's cloudy, stand on your porch, or if you have a back deck, a backyard, she's like, even 5 minutes. And she said to pair it with something as well. So sometimes when I do that, I'll just use like that 5 minutes to do some deep breathing, right? I'll kind of like take that moment of gratitude. You can also do grounding. So even better, I mean, January is a little trickier, but if you can actually take off your shoes and socks and stand outside in bare feet, that really helps as well. So I love that one. And I mean, moving and fueling, I would like to say those are part of my regular routine anyway, but I absolutely double down on that in January for sure.
Yeah, I've doubled down on those too through periods of like when I've been depressed in the past. The one I lean into probably the most is always, because it's so accessible, is nutrition. Like, even though I eat very well, sometimes I'll find myself thinking, okay, have I really been prioritizing mostly whole foods? Have I let those like kind of sugary snacks or lots of caffeine or something like that kind of affect me? So I'm really coming back to the omega-3s is important too, but the whole foods, like the foods that are going to nourish you and make you feel good.
Yeah, I love that. So T, can you take us through how we can build some emotional resiliency that supports implementing some of these mindset shifts? Because that can be difficult.
Absolutely. So number one thing is nobody likes the winter. Like, maybe they say they do, but I'm like, what is there to like? But it's like short days and it's cold, and like we can all agree that it would be nicer to go outside with no jacket and the sun is beaming down your face until from like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So yeah, that's not happening right now, but that doesn't mean that we need to start every single day being like, I hate this and I'm just going to hibernate and be in this mindset where you just don't want to embrace any part of the next few months. Because unless you're a snowbird and traveling away from the winter, you got to deal with it. So you should make the most of it. And not everything needs to be horrible and depressing about it. There's ways that we can reframe it that's going to make it something that is going to benefit you. And the number one thing that I come back to personally is that building your body over the winter, it's the perfect time to do it because you're probably not in a bathing suit. And it's not that you want to gain tons of body fat when you're in a muscle building phase anyway, but you're going to feel more comfortable when you're lean and sculpted and kind of leaning out over the summer months when you have less clothing. So now take an opportunity and lift heavy. Really, really double down on like staying really consistent with your training. If you have a home gym, it's even better because you don't need to leave your house.
Right.
And if you're home more,
do it in your jammies.
Do it in your jammies. Your gym is at home. You're home more. Like put 2 and 2 together. You're going to have more opportunity to build some muscle. So do that. Think about performance goals you work on too with that, right? Like it's always a good practice to have to lean out over the summer months, just logistically. But now you can focus on like, okay, now I'm going to set some PRs and I'm going to feel really good about, I'm going to squat my body weight and things like that. You can also use this as an opportunity to do all the kind of back burner maintenance things that you've been neglecting and when you've been in hustle mode, because if things are slower for you during the holidays, use that as an opportunity to just journal more, like get into a hobby, like develop some skills, like do that cooking class that you wanted to do or watch that masterclass training, take some yoga classes, like just do something new. Like it's the perfect time to focus on things that help you move at a slower pace.
Or even lean into a winter activity that helps you reframe winter, that maybe gets you excited to be outside. We're a skating family. Like we've really leaned into going skating very regularly because it's something easy that we can do. You can go for half an hour or 20 minutes, but you can also go for a lot longer. And there's cool skating trails to check out. And it's just another way to say like, okay, I don't like winter. I'm a summer girl at heart, but I like this activity and it's done in winter. So we can do it.
And it's a connection with the family. Like you're creating that winter ritual for yourself too.
That's a great reframe.
Love that.
I love that. And that kind of brings me to my next one, which is that we want to practice gratitude. Like this is something that we hear it all the time, but it's one of the things that you can't just hear it. You got to do it. And you could either do a journal, and you have more opportunity to do this, right? We're all cozy inside. Do your journaling every morning. It's a great practice to have. I also am a believer in gratitude texts. So You can even send a text every morning to someone you're grateful for and tell them why.
Aww.
How much would that freaking make your day if you got that text?
It would be amazing.
Right? I'm going to text you
What a
guys
high.
that starting now. But seriously, there is science to back it. When we do focus on what we're grateful for, it amplifies that. So it teaches your brain that you're reframing and now seeing the world in a more positive light. So if you want to amplify more of those positive feelings over the winter months, you want to focus on what is good. And it comes back to what I was saying earlier about the reframe. Another really powerful thing to come back to that's going to help you with your mood is to keep structured in your routines, right? The best way to have chaos in your mind is to have chaos in your day. So you want to really anchor down to your evenings and your mornings. And, you know, it all ties in together too. When we're talking about getting morning light with helping mood, now maybe you can keep that schedule where, I mean, we don't have a lot of daylight hours, but really stick consistent with that routine where you're allowing yourself that morning walk, bundle up, think about getting that sunlight on your face. So really make sure that you're anchoring down to those habits and keeping your non-negotiables. So how you start your day and how you end your day.
I love that. And Mark, can you talk to us about how we stay connected, how we can build community and beat these post-holiday blues?
Yes, absolutely. We were just talking about this before we actually started recording. I find one of the biggest challenges with this time of year is you have this huge shift, right? So like you're super busy. It's the excitement of the holidays. For me, I'm together with so much of my family. It's like a huge dose of family, right? Very short period of time to then shift to what feels like a very quiet, lonely time. So for a lot of people, this is what creates this kind of post-holiday slump. And so this is why connection is so important because yes, you've had the connection over the holidays, but it doesn't have to stop. It can just look different. So, you know, when we feel disconnected from other people, our mood is going to dip because there's data to support that isolation actually amplifies negative feelings and low mood, right? However, the science also backs up that it is important to stay connected to the people around you. So you can have these really strong social connections that are going to make you feel good. It's going to improve your mood, your mental health, your quality of life. And ladies, we are actually wired for connections. So we have this response called the tend and befriend response. And this means that when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, one of the most powerful things you can do is actually lean into your relationships. So the question is, you know, okay, how do I keep this going post-holiday? So there's 3 things that we recommend. The first one being just have a plan ahead. So what you want to do is be very intentional with your post-holiday planning. So this could look like scheduling a lunch date with a friend. You could even sign up for a workshop or a lesson. You talked about skating, like maybe it's learning a new skill that you can actually apply in the winter. Or you could join a fitness community. We talk a lot about surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So it's a perfect place and a perfect time to do that. Second thing is you want to think about creating a ritual. So that's why I was saying with your skating, Jord, this is such a perfect thing because it's bringing joy to your life. It's bringing connection. So you could do that. Maybe like every Friday, you call it like Skating Friday or Winter Friday, and you go skating with the family. It could also be a movie night or a game night because again, if you are someone who doesn't necessarily love the outside, you can still do that inside. And if you already have a tradition like this, as always, we would love for you to share it with us. You can post it on your socials and tag us because this could actually inspire other people to give something a try, something that maybe you didn't think of that you would like to implement yourself with friends and family.
I love that.
And the third thing, and I think this is so important and something we believe in as a Get Sculpted community, is giving back. So this is actually one of the most fulfilling ways to boost your mood. So you can volunteer your time. There are a lot of places around this time of year. There are shelters, soup kitchens that actually need more hands on deck. So that is a beautiful thing to do around this time of year. You could help out a neighbor. There is a lady who lives in a neighborhood close by, and I've a few times helped her carry her groceries in. She's elderly. She lives alone. And it's such a small gesture, but it has such a big impact. Or, and I love this one too, do random acts of kindness. So one of my favorites is when you're in the drive-thru, buying coffee for the person behind you. I have done this a few times. Again, such a small little thing, but it creates such a ripple effect. So again, research shows that giving back not only makes other people happy, but it boosts your happiness too. So it's a win-win. There's actually this book that I used to read in my classroom every single year. I don't know if you girls have heard of it because you have little kids, but it's called How to Be a Bucket Filler. So the whole idea is that we all have these invisible buckets that we walk around with. every time somebody does something kind for you, it's like depositing in your bucket. But every time that you put something in someone else's bucket, your bucket also gets filled.
Oh, I love that.
Right? So being a bucket filler is like you win, I win. We all feel good.
That is so beautiful.
That's why connection is so important this time of year.
I love that. So if you are feeling sad, if you are feeling frustrated, if you are like, oh, winter is this never ending tornado of snow and cold and darkness, and when will the summer come? I hope this episode has really brought you some practical tips. We're keeping it short and sweet today. So let's recap. We need to seek the light, move your body, nourish your mind, reframe your mindset, and lean into connection. You don't have to do all 5. You can just pick one and start to get the momentum going. When we feel sad, when we feel darker or depressed, it is hard to create that momentum. So, and getting us off the sofa or out of bed or, outside when it's dark. So pick one and you've got everything you need to make this winter not just bearable, but perhaps, dare I say it, as a winter hater myself, a season for maybe some growth and joy too. So remember, this is about progress, not perfection. Take just one small step today, whether it's a walk outside, making a gratitude list, or a quick text to a friend. I love that one so much, T. It can make all the difference in the world to maybe not just you, but to the people that surround you too. And so if today's episode spoke to you, please share it with a friend, tag us on social media. If we've earned the love and admiration from you to get a rating and a review, please do that too. We are trying to build a community of women that lift each other up no matter the season. So please remember, you are stronger than you think, you're braver than you feel, and more capable than you realize. Let's keep building that 2.0 version of you together. See you on the flip side.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.